Hi, this is Kim Hammer with your morning devotion taken from the book of Matthew, chapter 21, verses 1 through 11. The account that we're going to look at today and all during the week are found in the four Gospels, as you will find also the events of today. And we are going to pretend that it is Sunday, even though we know that this is Monday. We're going to reflect back to yesterday because that was the beginning of the Passover week. Jesus was going to arrive in town, and it was all going to lead up to the Passover, but we also know that it's going to lead up to the crucifixion of Christ later in the week. So in each one of the Gospels, the account of Jesus coming into the city and his crucifixion is given. I like to use this illustration. It's like you're at an intersection and there's an accident that occurs, and there are four people all standing on different corners, and they've all observed the accident. There's one accident, but there are four witnesses looking at it from four different perspectives. They bring those stories together in order to have a complete story of what happened. That's the way it is with the writer of the four Gospels. They each view something differently, although it's all to the point that it is dealing with Jesus being in Jerusalem for that week of the Passover and leading right up to the crucifixion. None of them are wrong because they all saw one accident. None of them are all wrong because they wrote what they saw. But it took all four of them in order to be able to get the complete picture of what occurred so that you have accuracy and you have not fallacy, but you have truth. We find that it begins with Jesus telling two of his disciples to go into the city, and there they would find a donkey that would be tied with a colt, and that they were instructed to bring the donkey and the colt in order for him to ride into the city of Jerusalem. We find that this had already been prophesied or talked about in the book of Zechariah, chapter 9 and verse 9. And so this is not anything that is new, but it is something that is fulfilling that which is old, that Jesus would ride into Jerusalem on the back of a colt. And we know how the story goes, and if you don't, you can read it from Matthew chapter 21, 1 through 11, how that the whole city came out to meet him, and that they would lay their cloaks down in front of him, that they would lay down palm branches in front of him. All these things were symbolic of giving him honor and glory as one who is coming into the city riding like a king. Now, Jesus came in this manner in order to show pictorially that truly he was a king. It symbolized his riding in peace because he had the authority to maintain the peace. The donkey symbolized service and suffering, and also peace and humility. Everything was pictorial for a reason, because it gave indication of why Jesus was there. And it's also the theme for wisdom as you think about the donkey and Balak, how that they had a conversation in the Old Testament. So each and every piece of the puzzle that was being laid out that day focused around the fact that Jesus was coming into the kingdom, coming into Jerusalem as a King of Kings, as a Lord of Lords, and as the King of Peace, full of wisdom and knowledge and might. And we know also that that same crowd that would conduct themselves the way they were, laying down the palm branches, also laying down their cloaks before Jesus, welcoming him as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and as the King of Peace, would in just a few days be the ones that would be involved in the riot and the mob that would be crying, "Crucify him, crucify him." We find nonetheless that even though Jesus knew this, he continued to press on, because his focus was not on the weakness of men, but it was on the strength of God that he would receive in order to complete the tasks that had been given to him. Such it is true for you and I today in a life lesson. If we are given a mission, if we are given a journey, we should press on, not so much in spite of the reaction of men, which can change on a dime, but that we should be motivated by the God that we serve, knowing that we are on a mission for him, and he does not abandon his own on the field. He will inspire us, he will lead us, he will guide us until ultimately he calls us home. One of the things we notice toward the end of the day is that Jesus wept over the city. He knew the future destruction of the city would be based upon their sin, but he couldn't help but stop and weep over the city that he loved so much, because they had not seen the error of their way, but soon it would become evident before them. This is the first day of the week-long journey of Jesus to the cross. He came in peace, and he will be going out at peace. and he came to give you the peace that he has to offer through his death, burial, and resurrection. Share the peace.